Yesterday we covered common mistakes when people let their hands go, when they throw boxing combinations. Today we're looking at common mistakes people make when they block, check, or try to catch a round kick. Because the most frequent kick to get thrown at you is often the round kick in kickboxing or Muay Thai, but many people are making loads of mistakes which are going to make it harder to catch the kick, but also, and more importantly, leave themselves more exposed. So let's dive into 7 common errors, hopefully none of which you are making, or after this video, hopefully you'll make the corrections and won't make them anymore. I've stressed on this channel so much that the defensive side of fight sports is just as important, if not more important, than the offensive side. A lot of people forget about that. So today's episode is super important because if you don't have your ability down to block, catch, kicks correctly, you're going to end up eventually eating a shin to the face, and we don't want that. So let's start off with point number 1, and I want to talk about one of the most common errors that I see, one of the ways that I'm able to land question mark kicks or Brazilian kicks on people. The reason this happens is that hands are up, they see the kick coming, they go for the check, elbow to knee, and their hand drops. And they're thinking body round kick, and the hand comes down. This is a super common error, one easily avoided if you just remember wherever your hands are, whether you're in this stance or this stance, whatever you're doing with your arms, wherever your elbow is, your hand is, it stays. Bring your knee up to your elbow. And one little point here, if you bring your knee directly into your elbow, eventually you're going to smoke it. You're going to smoke that leg into the elbow. You're going to hurt yourself. So either go knee on the inside or knee on the outside. That's your personal preference. Hands stay high, check, and don't let that hand drop at all. Point number 2, one of my favorite blocks, just cross blocking. Just reaching across. But one of the most common errors that I see when people try to execute this is they forget about body motion. They go block, block, and their body stays completely square. When your body stays square, you might block the round kick from hitting your head, but you're going to get knocked off balance. And when you get knocked off balance, you're not going to have anything to give back, and the guy will repeatedly keep throwing and keep backing you up, knocking you around the ring. You have to engage just like you would a punch. When I throw a punch right from my feet to my hips to my shoulders, I twist. Same thing when I go for my block. I want to turn into the strike coming at me and absorb the impact through the 2 arms. This is so important, and since we're on this, still same point, but just be sure when you guys come across, you don't do what I call a windshield wiper block where your hand drops. Just straight across, engage the whole body, and this block will become one of your favorites. Now moving into trapping a kick or catching a kick. One of the most common errors that I see when people try to catch a round kick coming to their body is they get super excited, they see the kick coming, and they go, okay, I'm gonna grab it. And they just go for speed, and they go pretty much too early, and they forget about protecting their head. I always tell people if my hands are up and I'm gonna catch a body round kick, make sure you come out. And if the guy happens to come upwards or you misread it, at least you'll get it off the arm instead of off the head. We don't want to come down and grab. We want to make a big circle out. Let that arm reach all the way out and then lock the kick up. That's going to stop you from getting that shin to the face at some point in your sparring career. Just make sure, wide circle, never go too early. Wait for the kick to get like into this zone here where there's very little chance of it flipping over, and then reach and grab tight. Now, speaking about the same catch, the same trap here, one of the things that I don't see a whole lot of people doing because they're sparring guys with shin pads is forgetting to step away from the kick. If you throw a right round kick and it's coming right at my ribs and I just stand here and I just grab, and you take full impact, you need to have a very conditioned body, a very strong body, and you need to be able to flex and absorb that impact to catch the kick. If you can remember to step away from the kick as you trap it, when somebody doesn't have shin pads on, it'll save you that massive jolt right into your ribs, possibly bruising and potentially even breaking something. So when you see the kick coming, instead of just standing your ground and going, grab, Remember, they might be kicking without shin pads in a future fight, and you want to practice moving away from the impact. Still nice and rounded like we talked about in the last point, but just taking that little step away so that when the kick hits you, instead of it being 100% power, it's more like 70 or 80% power. Now we're moving on, but we're still talking about the same trap or catch. I've kept my arm very wide. I stepped away. Now once I'm here, a common mistake that people make is they keep their head too close to their opponent. You know, they're down here, and then the guy, even though his leg's elevated, you've trapped his leg, he's going to be punching at you in the head. And granted, it's not going to have a lot of power, but you can easily avoid anything landing if you remember just to lean back a little bit. Elevate their leg, lean your head back, and that ends up causing this guy who gets his kick trapped to have to lift up because the pain in the ankle is so severe. And then what you end up trying to do is you're trying to punch as you're elevated and there's nothing there. So all three common mistakes on the trap. Number one, go wide. Number two, make sure you step. And number three, once you've trapped it, squeeze up with your arm and lean your head slightly back. Now, in terms of common errors, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about blocking a kick, trapping a kick, or checking a kick, a lot of times people forget to get that counter shot back. That is so important. If you do not get a counter shot back, even if you execute a perfect block or a perfect trap, and you have this guy here, but then you let go, or you block it and you let him pull his leg back, he's gonna go, okay, I can throw the kick, bang it off two arms, but there's no repercussions for throwing that technique. You have to make this guy scared to throw again, because he goes, every time I throw a kick, I get punched in the face. Or every time I throw a kick, I get swept out. We need to remember to follow up with the counter off the attack so that we're really making this guy hesitant to throw it again. And this happens very often when we see people not remembering to do that. So as you guys are doing your bag work, your drilling, your sparring, whatever, think block, counter back, trap, sweep them out, whatever you're gonna do. And the final point that I wanna talk about in common errors, and this is something that happens very often, I see this all the time at gyms, is once people catch a kick, they trap a kick. Could be any style. It could be like this. It could be the one we already talked about today. But once they take control, they stay stationary. And when I'm stationary and I stay there for too long, the guy who has his kick trapped is going to end up fighting his way out. He's not going to just stay there and wait for a long time. So once you've caught or trapped a kick, remember you can initiate some movement, making it harder for this guy to stay up. If I catch the kick and I take a step, he's busy trying to stay on his feet. Then I can come into my counter or my throw or whatever it is. If I trap the kick like this and I pull it through, maybe give them a little pushback, make them move, and then go for your sweep. Basically remembering that you need to not stay stationary after catching a kick, but you implement just a little bit of movement, and it'll make it that much easier not to get countered and then to end up executing whatever you're going to throw back at them or the sweep that you're planning on initiating. So there you have it, guys. Those are the common errors that I see when I'm at the gym, when people are trying to deal with that roundhouse kick, trying to block it, trap it, catch it, whatever the situation may be. I hope this video helped lots of you guys out there get a little bit more comfortable, confident with your ability to deal with body round kicks. If you found the video helpful, please give it a like. If you haven't already, join the channel and get subscribed. And as always, guys, train hard. We'll see you back here soon for another video.